Okay, welcome back everyone. Welcome to a new trading week. This is Jeff here with FXMindshift, and welcome to your Sunday weekly review. So checking the calendar this week, you can see that we have red folders pretty much every day of the week except for Friday and also Tuesday here. So Monday kicking it off with core retail sales and retail sales at 8:30 a.m. Tuesday, one orange folder here, so nothing too much to worry about on Tuesday. But Wednesday and Thursday, we have some pretty high impact news. Wednesday, of course, FOMC. We've got the federal funds rate. We have the statement, also the press conference, and that's all in the afternoon, right? 2 and 2:30. So that should be interesting for the dollar, and obviously, you know, the dollar's pairs that are affected, and also indices. So we'll see how that goes this week, and that's going to be on Wednesday. Thursday, if you guys are trading pound and GBP pairs and crosses, we have the GBP monetary policy summary, NBC official bank rate votes, right? So that should be pretty high impact for GBP. So just be careful and be mindful on Thursday if you guys are trading pound and pound crosses, right? Friday, we have no news on the calendar. Okay, so Friday should be pretty tame, and I think we'll end off the week, well, probably most of the volatility and the activity will happen at the beginning and the middle of the week, right? Especially with the FOMC. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, so let's get into the analysis. Let's go down to our dollar index and a monthly chart. Okay, we'll do our top down as we always do. So starting with the monthly here, as you can see, we've been pretty bearish this whole month. Okay, so from the start of the month until now, we've been going down, and you can see that reflected in the monthly candle. However, we have reached a bullish point of interest here, which is this monthly imbalance. Okay, you can see that we did just tag into it right here. So there is a possibility we can see price bounce from here. We may go a little further down into it, of course, right? Because we've just breached the top of it here. But if we do see price, start to turn around or start to show some hesitation here, we could see price and the dollar start to turn around and go back bullish again, right? So let's drop down to the weekly and let's see what price is doing in that little area there. Okay, so on the weekly, as you can see here, we ended the week in sort of like a, like a small consolidation. So we didn't really do much this week, right? After such a big expansion last week, having such a small kind of, non-movement week here this last week, and also sweeping this internal liquidity low here, that does suggest to me that we are going to try to, come back into this weekly imbalance that we formed here, maybe retrace before going lower again, right? So if I put the monthly imbalance back up here, you can see we just tagged into the monthly imbalance. We still could trade lower into that monthly imbalance. Actually trading into this weekly imbalance over here would be the next target if we were to continue lower. But because, we swept some liquidity and we have such a small kind of, consolidation candle, like a doji candle here, it is quite possible that we see price maybe want to retrace back a little bit further into this weekly imbalance before moving lower into the monthly and weekly imbalances below, right? So maybe expect, some upward movements for the dollar this week. And obviously FOMC certainly will have a hand in that if that happens. So let's take a look at the daily chart. Just below. So yeah, if the daily, if we continue higher here, you can see that we have formed a swing low here. Let's put up the daily markups. Okay, so swing low here, and that swing low over here that we, just swept, right? The previous liquidity swept, and then price, kind of retracing back from that after taking that low. There's the daily imbalance above here. If I put the weekly on there, it probably should be an overlap. Yeah, right there, right? So if we see price come back into the daily imbalance before moving lower, right, there's probably a better chance of us seeing it move into the imbalance first before moving lower again. So I'd like to see maybe a small retracement back up into this daily imbalance at the start of the week, and then, then see the continuation lower after that. So if we drop to the 4-hour and we take a look at the 4-hour structure, so here is that low that we swept over there on the daily, same low here on the 4-hour, and then you can see the structure has created a bullish retracement. Now we did actually trade back into this 4-hour order block once here, twice here, 3 times, and we have this reactions. So since this is giving us, you know, bearish reactions, and we also created a small 4-hour imbalance here as a result of that, right at the end of the week there. Okay. If we see price respecting this order block, then we may not see price trade back into this imbalance up here. So the daily imbalance up here, the overlap on the 4-hour is going to be this right here. Okay, so we can see that. Or actually, no, this one was already traded into here. So yeah, this would really be the only overlap here. So the 4-hour imbalance overlapping with this bigger daily imbalance here. So if we get a retracement up, we're gonna basically go through this 4-hour imbalance and order block like this, right? And then trade into that and then go lower. But if we don't go up there, right, if this is holding, right, so this imbalance here holds because of the reaction from this order block that we're having here, we may just see price, you know, go lower from here. And that is also possible, and then we'll see price go lower, right? I would like to see retracement up first, but you know, if this ends up holding, then, you know, we'll see. So it depends on how we open the week, how we trade through this, and if the order block above holds or not. But ultimately, either way, I would like to see one of these two scenarios happen. Okay, so trading back into this imbalance and then going lower, or trading back into the daily imbalance, overlapping with the 4-hour imbalance and then going lower, and then continuing with the downtrend. Right, so that is the dollar. Let's go over to euro dollar next here. All right, and on the monthly chart. So on the monthly, we can see that we did the same thing here, right? So we have a big bullish month so far for euro, trading now into a monthly imbalance area that we just tapped into. Okay, so potentially we could see a little retracement back into the range before continuing higher. Right, and so same thing as the dollar, right? Almost exactly the same. If we go to the weekly chart, okay, we'll also see the same, right? We had a small consolidation week on euro dollar, still bullish, right? Little bullish week, but you know, not as big as last week, obviously, right? And you can see the comparison from the big engulfing candle, but we did tap into that monthly imbalance, which in this case here on the weekly, the imbalance is just above here. So let's just go right up here. So that would be the next upward target for us if we were to go higher. But you can see here that we did just sweep out this high over here, okay? And then we saw a rejection from that. So if we were to trade higher here, I'd like to see price go, you know, lower into this imbalance here first, and then continue up to these levels, and then potentially even taking out the high after that, right? So that's kind of how I'd like to see it go. If we drop down to the daily, okay, we can see the weekly overlap here and the daily imbalance below. Okay, so this level here. So if we do make a move down, let's drop to the daily chart. I'm sure I have this already marked. Yep. So the daily imbalance, you know, if we see price go lower first, trading into the daily imbalance and then making its way up after that. So initially seeing price go lower and then the move up, the continuation up, are, you know, our normal manipulation cycle, which is the false weak move beginning or stop hunt low rise, right? And so on the 4-hour, let's see if we can kind of overlap there. So on the 4-hour, we have the 4-hour imbalance here, the first one anyway, because there's another one down below here, but this will be the first one we would like to see price give us a reaction off of. So this move down right here, right, taking out the 4-hour structure that we have and then trading into this imbalance and then moving higher, right? And that's generally the same thing but flipped for the dollar, right? So let's see if we get that. And if we drop down the 4-hour markups here, this order block right now we're currently holding, right? So same deal, we have a small imbalance just right here above the order block that is currently holding. Okay, and so if price doesn't make its way down to this imbalance down here and the order block does hold, you know, the retracement that we get could only be to this imbalance here and then pushing higher, right? So again, one of two scenarios, either this, or if we don't hold the order block and we see price go through it, then this is the next scenario. Okay, so one of those two for us to play out here for the week and see if we go higher for euro. Right, let's go over to GBP. All right, so for GBP on the monthly, right, also very bullish month so far. We can see the big bullish candle that we're creating here. And there is no imbalance here to trade to. It's just the order block, right, itself. So we have the monthly order block that we will trade into next. And then after that, we will look to take out the swing high if we do go higher. So this will be the next monthly target to trade into. And on the weekly, okay, we can see that we've created last week, just like Euro, we've created a weekly imbalance here, okay? If we pull up the weekly markups here, this will be right here. All right, so basically, you know, last week was also a very small kind of consolidation week, right? Creating this imbalance here. So ultimately, I'd like to see price reach for the next high, which is right here. I mean, technically it is the high of last week, but just above that is the week high up here, right? And this is that monthly order block right here that sits just inside below this weekly imbalance. So ideally, you know, I'd like to see something like this where we come back into this imbalance here. You can see there's a swing high here we can mitigate that's also overlapping with the imbalance. So a touch like that into the highs, okay? And that's the kind of move I want to see this week for GU. And the Thursday news obviously could play a big hand in that because we have the GBP you know, high impact news this week. So we'll see if that happens. Let's go down to the daily chart. Okay, so daily chart is also same idea. The swing high back over here is the draw on liquidity for me, taking that out and then trading into the monthly order block and the weekly imbalance. Okay, so we drew up the daily markups on the chart here. We can see that we formed a daily imbalance that we already kind of touched right here. We tapped into that already, and you can see the reaction from that is pretty strong. So this pullback coming back into this consolidation here, I don't necessarily need to see it come back into this imbalance again. You know, even just trading off of these this consolidation here and going higher would be ideal. Like I don't see the need for a very deep retracement here because we've already gotten a reaction from this imbalance here. So I would like to see price go higher from, you know, maybe just even a shallow retracement and then coming up to take out these levels over here and then trade into this, which is that monthly order block level. All right, so we're looking at, you know, up into the 131 levels again here for GU. All right, so on the 4 hour, okay, we have a 4 hour order block imbalance that we're holding right now, right here, right? So this imbalance has been tapped into a few times here, and you can see the price is continually pushing it up, right? So we're not able to, you know, go lower so far, right? We can see price is kind of hovering here. So like I said, I don't need to see another retracement down here, right? We've already seen liquidity sweep. We've already seen imbalances and impulses pushing up with a break of structure. So I would like to see price just kind of hold here and go up from right here if we can, right? And then see price go higher, right? And that is for GU this week. Let's go over to gold next. Now gold, we have hit that all elusive number, the $3,000 mark finally. You can look at the high here, 3,004.91. So we have hit 3,000. Obviously, you know, this is all-time high levels. You've never been this high on gold before, and obviously the order flow is still very much bullish right now. I am expecting a retracement because we've hit that 3,000 level, but I know that everyone else in the world is also speculating this as well and looking for that, you know, that retracement. So I think that we will see price go probably a little bit higher first, maybe a little, you know, continuation push just to, you know, trap some more breakout buyers above 3,000 and, you know, kind of run the momentum and the trend right now. And then, you know, waiting for that big reversal that's bound to happen at some point, which is going to take some time to form, okay? I mean, this is a monthly chart, obviously, but anytime you have a reversal at an all-time high, you know, it sits there for a good while in consolidation before it actually reverses. So we have plenty of time before this actually is going to make a big retracement. And I think that we'll see some semblance of, you know, a push up first before going lower. So I would encourage, you know, to continue to look for bullish setups, if anything. But for me, I am sitting on my hands on this until, you know, we see some good structure form, right? I'm probably not going to get involved in this, and I would recommend everybody not get involved with gold until we see some structure form, or we see what happens after we hit this $3,000 mark, right? But if I were to come down to the weekly here, okay, the last monthly order block or imbalance was traded into was here, which caused the move up into that 3,000 level. Okay, we have a small retracement here, an imbalance here that we traded into, and that push up into 3,000 was caused by price trading to this nice little weekly imbalance here. Okay, right now, if we were to continue off of this, this momentum here, then this is an order block that we can trade off into to go higher. So if price were to come back into this bearish candle right here, okay, after the break above the 3,000, then this could be potentially where we see another long opportunity, right? And seeing this order block. Now, I would mark the bodies and the 50% level here. Okay, this is as long as price remains in this upper portion, right, of price, it can retrace down as far as this here, and it would still be, in, good territory for price to go higher, right? And this is ideally where I'd like to see price to go higher. If we go any lower than that, then, we may see a early reversal, or at least an early sign of the consolidation that's bound to happen up here. Okay, so if we go to the daily chart, we can drop down to the daily markups and see. All right, so this weekly order block here, you can see in this series of candles, right? On the daily, if we take a look at the structure that's formed, we have the break of the recent swing high over here that took us to 3,000. We have the rejection from the $3,000 level, and also the imbalance that was formed on the way up. Okay, so again, if we were to continue higher, right, from here, shallow retracement from here, trading back into the imbalance, mitigating that swing high there, and also trading into that weekly order block, that would be ideal, right, for us to go long from here. Okay, probably don't need to go into the 4 hour, but let's do it anyway. Okay, 4 hour, as you can see here, so we have 4 hour imbalance that was formed on the way up, okay, after the break of the structure over here. So same deal, basically the exact same thing as we saw on the daily, retracing back into this imbalance here, maybe coming back to mitigate the swing high, right? That also is the start of the weekly order block, which is this big down move here, and then looking for the continuation up after the retracement into that level, right, with the bullish reaction, obviously. Okay, so that is gold, and now let's get into the indices. Okay, so NASDAQ, if you take a look at NASDAQ on the monthly, you can see that we have finally a bearish month, right? It was starting the month bearish and has been bearish all month. Pretty good move down from the all-time highs that we created up here all the way back in December. Trading now down to this monthly low, September's monthly low down here. That's going to be the next logical target for the monthly, to target those lows, okay, as we make our way down. You can see that we are trading back into this monthly order block, which we saw, price react from a couple times. Okay, but ultimately, direction and order flow on the monthly is still very much bearish, right? If we go to the weekly chart and we take a look at the weekly, we can see that the last, imbalance created here on the weekly was formed after that last weekly bearish move, right? We also have a little volume imbalance here. As you can see, there's a separation of the candles, okay? And so this wick that we came back, we saw a little bit of a rejection, a retracement at the end of the week, right? Trading back into this big weekly OB over here, right? If I just mark this over here, you can see, so we traded into this big weekly order block over here, right? Into that 50% level. And then we saw price come back and close back above in it, right? So this is starting to see a little bit of momentum retracement back into, higher. And if we do, then this is the area I would target for a retracement before going lower again. Because ultimately, like I said, we are drawing to that monthly low, the September lows. Okay, and so if we do a retracement here, pulling back into this volume imbalance would be the first target I would look for, right? Or the imbalance overall here, but this volume imbalance here, and then seeing price react from that and going lower afterwards would be ideally what I want to have happen, right? So the continuation of this bearish order flow, right? Now we have been bullish a lot on on the indices, NASDAQ and ES. So, the overall structure is still bullish. Technically, we still are, in a discount. And this could be where we make the next higher low, right? Where we do continue higher and, continue above and continue to make all-time highs actually, right? And not actually go lower. So it's a key area here, a key turning point area, which we will be, it's be interesting to see this week what happens, because we have FOMC as well in the middle of the week, right? And I think that'll be a key factor in what happens going forward with the indices. So if we drop down to the daily chart, okay, and we go to the daily, right? So you can see here trading into the weekly order block and seeing the reaction. We get the swing low, right? And Friday we had that nice big bullish engulfing candle, engulfing the previous candle here and going higher. So I do expect price to continue the momentum, at least in the beginning, right? To go higher. As I said, that weekly imbalance up here, right? And the volume imbalance area, right? So trading back into this zone here to at least to this area here before going lower if we do, but also potentially even seeing price, continue higher and up in, in the range here. So would like to see a continuation up. And on the 4-hour here, if we look at the 4-hour, we can see that this is going to be my draw, right? At the start of the week, it's right there, the high's right there, and there is also a bearish imbalance there that we can trade into as well. So I'll be looking for the initial move of the week here to trade into that, and then seeing if we get a reaction lower, or if we do continue higher from that afterwards, right? If we do trade through the imbalance, then it's likely that we're going to see a retest of that area for price to go higher from there. Right, so that is for NASDAQ. Let's go over to ES. ES is going to be very similar. All right, so ES now on the monthly, again, bearish month, right? So just like NQ, seeing price go down so far this month from the start of the month, and has been bearish all month, right? So the order flow and the direction has been bearish to the downside. The low here, September low, is also very close. So again, I would expect price to come down and reach for that as the next draw on liquidity. Also trading back into that monthly order block over here again. That would be the next likely target. So if we go to the weekly and we take a look at the weekly chart, we also have a weekly imbalance that we created after the close of last week, and we also have a volume imbalance as well. Okay, so again, after the rejection from the weekly close, I would expect the momentum to trade higher up into this imbalance here, into this volume imbalance, for the purpose of going lower after the reaction from there, right? And if we do get a continued bullish move through the imbalance and through the weekly imbalance here, then we should see price continue higher. And continuing the bullish trend, right? So if we go down to the daily, right, it's going to be, like I said, very similar to what we saw on NASDAQ, but we do have that big bullish candle, just like we did on NQ, closed the week and engulfed the previous candle. Next draw on liquidity is going to be that high right there, right? And then seeing if we can draw up into that volume imbalance up here, which on the weekly you can see is right up here. If we get through this high right here, right? So on the 4-hour, you can see that is right here. So that again is my draw on liquidity, trading into that 4-hour high. And then if we see a reaction from that and go lower, that may be where we go lower from. But if we continue through that and see the retest of it, then we could see price continue higher into those bigger weekly zones. All right, and so that is how I'm going to approach this week for the indices, and that is going to do it pretty much for the rundown today and the analysis. All right, so if you guys have any questions on anything I covered, I hope that was helpful. And of course, as with every week, I hope you guys are able to take this information and catch some wonderful setups with it this week, right? For those of you that are still interested, of course, the MindShift VIP is open. You guys can have the link is in the description below, but you guys have an opportunity to try it out completely risk-free, right? You get a 7-day free trial. You guys will see me, implementing the analysis and, day-by-day analysis, not just the weekly analysis, obviously, but a day-by-day analysis, and also access to the weekly live trading rooms where you can trade live and live stream with me as I take my setups and go through my trades and play-by-play with you guys. right? So if you want to, the link is in the description below and you guys can take advantage of that. Otherwise, that's going to do it for the video this week and this analysis. So good luck with your trades. Hope you guys have an amazing weekend, and we'll see you guys on the charts and on the next video.
Feel me.